The MMQB's Peter King back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, PK?
Great, Rich. How are you?
Are you calling in because Ohio's not in the tournament this time around, Peter? You're not.
I'm a little bitter about that, but I noticed they didn't even get into one of those other alphabet tournaments. I wonder if that was a choice. They won a bunch of games this year, but I'm probably the only person in the country who wonders that about the Ohio Bobcats.
So let's focus our attention on what more people are wondering about, which is Marshawn Lynch. Is it possible? Is there really some smoke and potential fire here with him coming back?
You know, Rich, I will say this about both of the stories of the day, about Marshawn Lynch and Jason Pierre-Paul. When in doubt, trust Schefter. And, to me, I think that the Marshawn Lynch thing makes sense just because it's Oakland. And I think that both sides were ready for the Seattle divorce. Pete Carroll can take just about anything other than the constant distraction that they felt that Marshawn Lynch was late in his career in Seattle. And then, to me, I think he's basically a guy who hasn't found anything else in life, and who knows, maybe he comes to the rescue with Latavius Murray done in Oakland and the Raiders needing a running back, but it does make sense to me.
Okay, so what would it take? Obviously a trade, right? Wouldn't that have to something?
I would think that the Seahawks wouldn't just give him up. I would think the Seahawks would want something for him. I doubt it would take a lot, because he clearly, what I'm not saying he's valueless right now, especially if Oakland actually wants him. But I don't think that Seattle could say, even give us a 3 for him. To me, I think this is a classic case of this trade should be a 2018 draft pick based on his performance in 2017.
So, also because it's not as if there's another team that would be out there bidding for his services. It's Oakland or bust for something like that happening, as opposed to what might be going on with Romo and Jerry Jones, what he's trying to extract in that regard.
I think so. I would think that he probably wouldn't want to go anywhere else other than Oakland. I mean, maybe San Francisco, but Marshawn Lynch is an Oakland guy, Rich, as you know, and I think it would be a surprise if he would be interested in going anywhere else other than Oakland.
Peter King from the MMQB joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what do you think is the deadline that will spur action on the Romo front? Pinpoint it for me if you can.
Rich, I would say that there really isn't – there's no reason for them to be in a hurry, or for Dallas to really be in a hurry with Romo. I wrote the other day that the first time that the Houston Texans or the Denver Broncos can have any organized activities inside their complex with a player is 5 weeks away. So now it's 4.5 weeks away. So I don't know why anybody would feel that there needs to be any sort of deadline in the next week or so. I think that the Cowboys sound like they're willing to wait. And Romo, I think, is just going to have to be patient.
And he's kicking the tires on a TV career, you think, from what you're hearing?
Well, Rich, I wrote something, about 3 weeks ago, and I said that he had a job offer out there, a very, very good job offer that he turned down for now. And I'm not going to say what it was, but I think it's interesting that these TV rumors have surfaced, because that is where I believe that eventually one day Romo is going to have a good opportunity. I think he's also going to have a good opportunity, Rich, as an instructor of the position. He really is he's kind of a quarterback nerd. Mechanics and arm slots, arm motion, everything like that. I mean, he really reminds me of a pitching coach or like a Tom House guy, a real mechanical guru. So I think he'll probably end up doing one or more of, either one or maybe both of those jobs when he leaves. But I think he feels like he's got unfinished business, and he definitely wants to play one more year at least.
All right. So where do you think? Houston, Denver, or is there a team lurks?
Houston makes the most sense. Houston makes the most sense, Rich, by far. There's a need there. There's a desire, I think, by the Texans. I think Bill O'Brien would love to have him as his quarterback. Not that Denver wouldn't, but I think after the season, John Elway told somebody, I don't want to retard the growth of the two quarterbacks we have, particularly a number one pick. And so what happens if Romo comes in and he plays really well for a year or two? Then all of a sudden, Lynch never gets on the field, and who knows, maybe even leaves Denver without having a chance to play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's highly unlikely. But what I'm saying is that I think that maybe Elway would consider it, but I don't, and I believe he'd want to be able to consider it. But I do not think they have any sort of the sense of internal need going on right now for Tony Romo that the Houston Texans have.
Peter King joining me here for a few more minutes on the Rich Eisen Show. What's the market for Adrian Peterson right now? Doesn't look too good.
Doesn't look good at all. And I think whatever he takes is going to have to be an incentive-heavy contract. Because I think everybody looks at him and, everybody wants to believe that 2015 was the real Adrian Peterson. But 2014, he did nothing, not necessarily all his fault, certainly. 2016, he did nothing. So 2 of the last 3 years, he's done nothing. He's going to be 32 years old in a matter of weeks, days. I forget what his birthday is, but it's this spring. And, so you look at it right now and you basically say, hey, who's going to lay out a lot of guaranteed money for him? I think it would be, really a bad decision on the part of any team to lay out significant money for Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, he turns 32 on Tuesday. Peter.
Yeah.
But here, so would there be any possibility? I've been pounding the table for this as an idea, and Packers fans keep telling me to pipe down, but I've got the microphone right now. I mean, certainly with Minnesota having announced early, supposedly, so they could let him seek employment elsewhere. That he still hasn't found, and Latavius Murray has taken his spot already, and Rick Spielman says he's got somewhere, he's going to move on elsewhere. Why wouldn't he call up Green Bay and pull a reverse Favre and stick his face in their grill?
It's a great idea, but it's going to be it has to be one of those things that a team like Green Bay or a team like the Giants has to have a rock solid alternative plan. That, to me, I think that the Giants particularly, won't get stuck, thinking that this is the only guy who we could have. Okay. And I think that is one thing, and that Ted Thompson won't get stuck that way either. So to me, I think he'd be a great, he has to be willing to sign a low money, low guaranteed contract with a tremendous incentive package. If he would be willing to do that, and I know that probably that personally he objects to that because of the resume he has, and I get it. But running backs have changed in football, Rich. As you know, running backs have changed drastically. And so now there is no, this isn't like when Franco Harris left Pittsburgh or when Emmitt Smith left Dallas. Those two situations, those guys, the Arizona Cardinals really wanted Emmitt Smith and thought he had 3 or 4 pretty good years left. And so the bottom line is that doesn't exist anymore in football. I think that it's all well and good to say that, hey, let's get Adrian Peterson on our team. That's fine. I think there are probably a bunch of teams that would want him. But the bottom line in this is they're not going to be willing to guarantee him a lot of money, nor should they.
Last one for you, Peter. Do you recall another Super Bowl champion markedly improving their lot in the ensuing free agency period and being as active as they were as the Patriots just did with some really smart, targeted acquisitions, Peter?
That's a very good question. I mean, the two things about their off season is that there was no question the one guy they really wanted to keep was Dante Hightower. Okay? So after a bunch of back and forth on that, they were able to keep Hightower. And then after that, nobody thought that I certainly at the start of this didn't think they'd be able to get Brandon Cooks, but obviously in getting him, they improved that part of their team. But I'm going to be a little contrarian here, Rich. I mean, Stephon Gilmore has missed 12 games in the last 3 or 4 years. And to me, and he wasn't as good as Malcolm Butler when he played. So that they're going to trade Malcolm Butler, I believe, to New Orleans, or I think they'll move him somewhere. Bill Belichick is not paying two cornerbacks $13 million each. He's just not happening. So, to my way of thinking, they've gone down a little bit in quality at the cornerback position, while staying the same at the linebacker position, and then improving themselves at the receiver position. If they play it right, in my opinion, if they play it right with Malcolm Butler, I think they would end up maybe with 2 picks in the top 3 rounds from New Orleans. That's what I think they would rather have than just getting that one back. And if I were Bill Belichick, because I think it's the 43rd pick and 76 or something like that, I'd much rather have that in a strong defensive draft than just pick number 32.
Peter, take care of yourself, man. We'll chat soon, certainly before the draft. Thanks for the time.
All the best, Rich. Thank you so much.
Right back at you at SI_Peter King.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.